asked Peter whether I should tell Father.
Well?
I'm going to.
If you were older and he'd propose, what would your answer be?
Honestly?
Yes, of course.
I don't think I could marry him.
What? Why not?
He doesn't have enough character yet.
But Anna, you do kiss him.
Yes. Letting go is hard, too.
Hi, Peter. Did you learn your Latin?
When we're alone, tell each other a lot.
I'll do it now.
I want him to understand me completely.
Children.
I really like him. We can talk about anything. And then there's our physical love.
Anne.
It's beautiful, Margot. You've shared something. You've given something and received something. And whether or not you have a baby, or your honor is gone, it's unimportant.
You scare me. You're 14, Anne.
But I don't feel that way. Yes?
It's time. Switch off the light, Anne.
Mm-hmm.
You're still here.
Did you find out anything? The lists. Did you get to see them?
Yes. The girls. The girls are dead. I'm here again. Who would have thought it?
Pages were scattered all over the place. The police had simply thrown them on the floor. I don't know whether it's complete. It was all written by Anne. I've not found anything by Margot. Now that Anne isn't coming back, I kept it for you. You can stay with us. My husband. Jan and I. We have a room which we barely use.
Thank you, but I can't accept.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
A few days ago, Father started talking about going into hiding. He said that it would be very hard for us to live completely cut off from the rest of the world. The secret annex is an ideal hiding place. Even though it's damp and a little lopsided, there's probably no more comfortable a hiding place in Amsterdam. No, in all of Holland. Until now, our bedroom with its blank walls was very bare. Thanks to Father, who brought my entire postcard collection, and a brush and some glue, I've been able to cover the walls and turn the entire room into a single picture. It looks much more cheerful now. You want to paste that one there? Yes. That one is so beautiful. That one is so beautiful.
Mr. Frank?
Please, just a little longer.
Hello?
Hello. Are you the policeman, Silberbauer?
Yes?
Who is it?
The name is Hoof. I work for Dutch newspaper Haagselpost. Are you still a policeman?
Did Reisenthal send you?
I want to talk about Amsterdam, 1944. There's a small remuneration.
Yes. Well,
May I sit down?
please.
Certainly.
August 1944, the arrest of the Frank family on Prinsengracht. Did you head up that operation? Were you in command?
Yes? Yes, that's the young girl who's said to have written that book.
Who tipped you off?
Tipped us off? It was common knowledge that there were Jews hiding there.
Did you find a diary?
What? I was there to arrest those Jews. We'd reckoned on 2 or 3, but it turned out there were 8. I even had to call for another van.
So, no diary?
No. Lots of paper. All their personal belongings were strewn throughout the rooms. Yes, papers, books. I arrested them. Do you understand? Arrested them. Who would take any interest in all that baggage?
Many people.
Who? I'm asking you.
Dearest Kitty, keeping a diary in this way is much nicer, and I can't wait for the moment when I have time to write in you. Oh, I'm so glad that I've brought you along. I want to tell you something about my class and my school. Let me start with a few of my classmates. Rob Cohen was in love with me, but now I can't stand him anymore. He's a hypocrite, false, a whinge, crazy, generally unpleasant, and thinks he's really something. Sally Springer has a dirty mind, and rumor has it that he's done it. Even so, I like him a lot, because he's very funny.
She was full of life. She was always talking, and liked to be noticed. She liked the boys, and always wanted the boys to like her. During the last years, she always had a boyfriend. But she had many girlfriends too. She didn't only focus on the boys. It was all far more harmless than it is today.
When I was very small, still attending kindergarten, Sally Kimmel had caught my eye. One of his cousins, Abby, was a handsome, lean, dark-haired boy who got more admiration than the small, humorous, tubby Sally.
Sal was the round, good-natured one, and I was the... how should I say that?
The handsome one?
The handsome one. But nevertheless, she was in love with Sal. To begin with, she was a girl. I was a child still, too. I played football. And I didn't yet have any hormonal urges. But we spent a lot of time together.
A week ago, even a day ago, then if you had asked me, which of your acquaintances is most suitable to marry? Then I'd have answered, Sally. Because with him I feel calm and safe.
We liked each other, a lot, but there wasn't, at least not for me, anything erotic about it. We never kissed or anything like that. I was too young. A 14-year-old girl is a lady, and a 14-year-old boy is a child.
In May 1940, the good times were over.
German troops have now breached the first lines of Dutch defense. Dutch soldiers offered fierce resistance, but ultimately they weren't able to suppress the German onslaught.
The misery for us Jews started.
Allers is the name. Hello?
Hello.
You're quite a go-getter.
I take advantage of my talents.
Please.
A letter has come to my attention. In it, a certain Jansen writes, That you don't think the Germans will win the war?
Janssen, he left us a long time ago.
Did you have an affair with his wife?
That's rubbish.
I don't believe it either. Don't get me wrong. Jansen writes that kind of letter sometimes. People who do that are shot nowadays.
Thankfully, you intercepted the letter. Thank you. I have 10 guilders here for you, if you leave the letter with me. By the way, thank you for protecting me from the occupiers' displeasure.
Oh, I don't need payment. Maybe we could think about a joint business venture.
All right. 20.
My brother betrayed everything that made him money. He had a friend in the SD, a German officer of a very high standing. He betrayed all the Jews to him and received money in return. He also betrayed people he didn't like, such as his sister. He'd always been very dangerous.
Have a nice day.
One anti-Jewish law after another came into force. Jews are not allowed in theaters, cinemas, or swimming pools.
We couldn't go anywhere anymore. And then Jews were no longer allowed to use the trams or go into shops.
You cycled to school with her, didn't you?
No. Yes. When that was still allowed. But it was soon prohibited.
And so our lives continued. And we weren't allowed to do this. And we weren't allowed to do that. Forbidden for Jews.
They're not coming back. They're not coming back.
I know.
Margot, I can't think. What are you packing?
Take your school books. This may take a while. At what time is Hello coming?
3 o'clock. If you know anything, tell me, please. Where are we going?
I know nothing. No idea. Don't open the door to Hello. He mustn't know we're leaving.
All right.
What are you doing?
Memories are more valuable to me than clothes.
There he is. Don't make a sound.
Margot, Anne, are you expecting anybody?
Anne's admirer. Hello.
You're just jealous.
Were you surprised when she was no longer there?
No, I was... Most of the people I grew up with were no longer there. You live with it.
The fact that people disappear.
Yeah.
Pack your things, Anne.
At the beginning of July, I went to the house to play with Anne. I rang the doorbell twice, but nobody opened. Where could they be? When I rang a third time, Mr. Goldschmidt, a Dutch Jew who rented part of the house, came down and told me that the Franks had emigrated to Switzerland. The diary wasn't there, and I was curious to read it because I knew that she had written about me. I wanted to read it, but the diary wasn't there.
They called me up, by the way, not Daddy.
Margot is 16 years old, so they send such young girls away alone. But fortunately, she's not going. Mother said so herself, and it must be what Father meant when he talked to me about hiding.
She was very upset. I saw it. And when I was standing with her in front of the hiding place, I was afraid that she would be fallen down. And that, what could I do with her? I opened the door and put her in.
I'll come and see you later.
This way.
Wait for me.
Margot.
I'm so afraid.
How are we to live here?
Sit yourself down. We'll manage. Everything will turn out fine.
I'll help you later. Oh, my Margot.
When I came there, it was terrible. Nursing was okay. And Mrs. Frank and Margot were sitting down on the bed. They could not do anything. They could not accept this situation.
It was hard for Anne's mother to have to leave Germany and the beautiful house in which they lived in Frankfurt, and she hadn't learned the language well.
Get some rest, get some rest. We'll manage.
Amsterdam was a place of exile for her. Absolutely. She loved Frankfurt and Germany. She was extremely homesick for Frankfurt.
We can't use a hammer, can we?
Only during workers' break. In future, we have to be very quiet. Walk on socks, whisper, and talk less.
Our living room and other rooms were so full of stuff. It was indescribable.
First the books.
But Father and I, the two tidy ones in the family, wanted to start right away. I don't think I'll ever feel at home in this house. But that's not to say that I find it unpleasant. It's as if I'm on holiday in a very strange guest house. For someone like me, it's a very strange feeling to keep a diary. Not just because I've never written before, but also because I don't think that anyone, myself included, will ever be interested in the outpourings of a 13-year-old. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4 years old. Because we're Jews, my father moved us to the Netherlands in 1933.
had to be. There was no other choice. I mean, when the SA marched past the house chanting, "When Jewish blood spurts from the knife, things go twice as well," Otto knew that it was time to leave.
After weeks of fighting between the Allies and German troops, Sebastopol in the Crimea has been almost completely destroyed. More than 10,000 Soviet soldiers have perished in the fighting.
I've prepared an education plan for you. History from 9:30 until 10 o'clock. English from 10:30 until 11:30.
But it's still holidays, Daddy.
Yes.
Besides, we don't have the new books yet.
Hello.
Oh, Peter. You're early.
I came ahead of the
cat.
rest.
That's unfair. I couldn't bring mine.
My fault again.
At 9:30 in the morning, while we were still having breakfast, Peter Van Pels arrived. Mr. and Mrs. Van Pels came half an hour later.
My God, up here? Frightening.
My mother.
We thought they'd arrive on the 14th, but the Germans were rounding up ever more people, so they figured they'd rather be a day early than a day late.
Welcome.
Things are being said about you.
Good morning.
One family saw you cycling past at 4 in the morning. Someone else
Good day.
is certain that you were loaded into a military truck.
August, please, calm down. Your neighbor, Mr. Goldschmidt, found your address, and now everybody thinks you're in Switzerland.
Can we get some fresh air in here?
No, unfortunately.
Ah, yes. I'll feel better in a minute.
Mom, no,
Honey?
don't. No, not here. Not on the table.
Oh, but
To our amusement, Mrs. Van Pels had a chamber pot in her hat box.
without it, I never feel at home,
She explained, and the pot was immediately given its own place beneath the bed couch.
At night, this will be your domain.
Ah, we're to sleep in the kitchen.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Wonderful.
Put it down there.
There's another toilet, isn't there?
Certainly, Miss Van Pels, certainly. Although we do have to share it.
Very well.
Peter Van Pels is quite a boring and shy beanpole. Not yet 16, and I don't expect much from his company. He does a bit of woodwork, and then he takes a nap again. He's such an idiot.
For you.
What do you want to become later?
I'd like to teach. Maybe I'll go to Palestine to become an infant nurse.
Oh, Nurse Margot, I need to do a wee. Oh, too late. No, I couldn't do that. All those spoilt little brats. Eesh. I'd rather go to London or Paris to study a language or art history.
But you need money to do that.
What are you giggling about?
I'm just reading about you.
That's not true at all. What are you talking about?
Peter, wait. I have something for you.
Thank you. You're wanted upstairs.
He could be a little more friendly, couldn't he? Do you think that I'm very ugly?
You look funny. And have beautiful eyes.
My little girl. A special young lady, Anne.
I also want some time alone in the bathroom.
We should make a number of arrangements. A regular daily routine is important for us all. We should all get up at 7 o'clock. Then who goes to the bathroom when?
Me.
And you don't need the bathroom immediately. You can use it in the evenings when the workers have gone home. Okay?
I'll make a rota. Is that all right?
Then we can arrange who cooks when.
Have we made too many demands on you, Miss Van Pels?
Otto, I enjoy cooking, but who knows how long we'll be here.
I'd like to cook sometime.
You'll natter and burn everything.
That happened only once.
And we all know who natters the most.
Who is that, Mrs. Van Pels?
When she's right, she's right.
If you were my daughter, I would punish you.
You're cooking next. I can't wait to see what you manage.
Are the waiters going to cook now? Let's make a plan instead of arguing.
And you're harmony personified.
I will do the washing up.
At least one of them is well brought up.
Thanks, Mark.
Bravo.
That's a good start.
Anne, what are you going to do?
Shall I do the drying?
Clear the table?
No, I'd rather do the beds.
How about do it all?
Doing. I could teach you proper Dutch. How about that?
Anne, are you trying to insult me?
I was just offering my help.
Rarely have I met such a rude, ill-mannered, and gossipy child.
Met.
I don't have to listen to this.
Mom, my hair.
Go to your room, Anne.
Excuse me.
As I said, we have to make a plan.
My God, all this soap.
Naturally, there were tensions. Imagine your family in hiding with another family for 2 years. Of course there are tensions.
Anne was more impudent and would dispute things her mother told her. Anne knew... Let me tell you this wonderful line of my mother's. The dear Lord knows everything, but Anne knows everything better. And that's how it was with her mother, too. She knew better how to raise children. She knew everything better.
Dearest Kitty, don't think that it's easy to be the ill-mannered center of attention in a family in hiding, where everyone minds the affairs of everyone else. At night, when I think about all my sins and supposed shortcomings, I become so confused by the large number of things I have to work on that I either laugh or cry, depending on my state of mind.
What, for God's sake, are we going to do with Anne Frank? The newspapers report that my husband is being criminally indicted. Can you imagine what the people in the neighborhood must think?
No one wants to indict your husband.
That's right. Nobody's saying that I'm a criminal. He's right. Stop talking nonsense. You're ruining everything.
When did you realize whom you had arrested? Did you know the family?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't buy the book until last week. I wanted to know whether I'm in it too. But it ends before the arrest.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you like some more coffee?
No, thank you.
I found out from newspaper articles, years after the war, that I was the one who arrested her. But how can the girl claim that all the Jews were gassed? We didn't know that back then.
See you tomorrow.
Take care.
The people in the neighborhood don't look very attractive. And the children are so dirty that you wouldn't want to touch them with a stick. Yesterday, as if if it were a wonder of the world. I saw 2 Jews through the curtain. It was a very strange feeling.
They come out when it's dark.
As if I'd betrayed them, and was now secretly observing their misfortune.
You have a visitor. Don't talk to him.
Don't you remember me?
Thank you. Allers. Yes, I do. How are you?
I need... you know...
Money?
No, I need a letter. Saying that I'm a good man.
I see. Who wants to know?
The police, the authorities, you know.
And what exactly do you want me to write?
That I saved you. That I saved a Jew.
I don't have any time at the moment.
It'll only take a minute. You'll find the right words. You do remember that I helped you too, don't you? It could have ended badly for you.
Yes, I know.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
What does he want? Money?
No. Where's the book?
It was lying...
Oh, thank goodness. I thought he'd stolen it.
The battle for Stalingrad rages on. The German army and Soviet troops are fighting in the west of the city. In a speech to the German people, novelist Thomas Mann has condemned the crimes being committed against the Jews. They're being locked up in ghettos and concentration camps, and their slaughter in gas chambers.
Dearest Kitty, an 8th person is coming to hide with us. Come in.
Dr. Pfeffer.
We've always said that we have enough space and food for an 8th person. As reports about the fate of Jews became more horrific, Father put the word out among the decision makers.
As you can see, you're expected.
They thought it was a grand idea.
Welcome.
I thought you were in Belgium. Unbelievable. I'm speechless.
You won't be needing this here.
Let me take your coat.
Thank you.
What are things like out there?
They drive through the streets in military trucks. Ring doorbells and ask whether Jews live there.
Every door?
If they do, the whole family's picked up. If not, they move on. Even neighbors are becoming traitors. They sometimes have lists and know exactly where they'll find Jews.
God, what if they come to this door?
Why would they do that, Curly? Nobody's looking for you.
They are. They often pay per head, as much as 8 guilders each.
It's like the slave hunts.
Anne. You're safe here, Dr. Pfeffer.
This is ingenious, Mr. Frank. My compliments.
You shall sleep in Anne's room.
Yes. Yes, I've written a prospectus and guide to the secret annex for you because there are so many rules.
Let the doctor settle in, Anne.
She's our writer.
Thank you.
To your health. It's wonderful to have you here.
Shall I help you?
No. I want to do this by myself. I'm going to give the first pages to someone to read. What do you think?
I don't know whether it would be fair to Anne. It's her diary.
Yes. But it's also a document. I want Anne's voice to be heard. There's nothing we can do except await the end of this misery as quietly as possible.
The Jews are waiting, the Christians are waiting, the whole world is waiting. And many are waiting for their deaths. Your Anne.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
What a dirty mess. There's something wrong here.
Stop snooping around.
There's flour all over the floor. There are noises.
Keep it to yourself. If you go to the police, then they'll set their sights on me.
Don't worry. But yesterday I heard voices.
Maybe it was me.
Get on with your work, you fool.
Prospectus and Guide to the Secret Annex. Beautiful, quiet surroundings, free from woodland. In the heart of Amsterdam, no private neighbors. Furnished and unfurnished apartments, and rooms available at all times.
With or without meals. Rent, free. Cuisine, fat-free.
Anne sometimes read us some of the funny passages. Little stories she'd written, like the one about the dentist. But never anything about her ideas and feelings. She never read us anything about those. Free time is cancelled indefinitely. Outside of the house, that is.
Language use? It is imperative to speak softly at all times. All languages of the civilized world are allowed, so no German. Gymnastics daily. Strong drinks? Only on doctor's orders.
I'd like to hear more.
Good evening.
Evening.
Mr. Frank.
Oh, Alice. You received my letter?
Yes, thank you very much.
Then we're quits now. Although I've heard quite a bit about you in the meantime.
You know how people talk. You hear this, you hear that.
You blackened Jews.
They were looking for them.
I bid you good night.
Hey, wait a minute. I know that you supplied the German army too.
Who didn't?
We wanted to do business together.
You wanted to do business with me, but I didn't with you.
it bounces towards us. She sits up so happy. Good morning, dearest Anne. Today's your birthday. The cake is on the table. It's been made just for you. Good morning, dearest Anne. Today's your birthday.
Thank you.
What's that on your face? I hardly recognize you.
At least someone still makes an effort.
Happy birthday. I wanted to say...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, let me take a look at you.
Yes.
Which actress's hairstyle is it?
No one's.
Oh, do tell us. We have no idea what's fashionable nowadays.
Turn around.
It looks funny from the back. Margot, why don't you try another style? I'm sure it would suit you.
August, please.
My darling little doll, happy birthday.
The hairstyle's my own invention.
Who's going to believe that? You really look so different, Anne.
Why don't you simply try it?
Anne, Daddy isn't ready. Shall we pray together?
No. I don't want that.
Are you sure? I don't want to be upset with you. Love cannot be forced.
Every day, every hour, I miss the mother who understands me. I hang on to father because each day I look down upon mother with more contempt. And he is the only one who, for me, keeps the family bond alive.
Daddy said that I should offer to help her of my own accord. But I won't. Because I don't love her.
Because I don't love her. And that it's not sincere. I can imagine Mother dying one day. But that Daddy might die, I don't think I could cope with that. It's very nasty of me. But that's how it feels.
How could you say such a thing?
Sometimes I think, can anybody understand me? Look beyond the ungratefulness? Look beyond being Jewish or not being Jewish? And just see the teenager in me? The girl who so desires happiness and enjoyment?
P.S. The toilet was blocked this morning, and all the strawberry recipes are toilet paper, and lots of feces were pulled out of the toilet by Father using a long stick. The stick was later burned.
She has a sense of humor.
And much more than that. You have such a gifted daughter.
Don't, Mom. My mother was a very beautiful woman. Very intelligent, too. And I think he liked her a lot. And my mother liked Otto a lot, too. And that's how, to begin with, a friendship developed.
Just try to imagine. She's younger than you are.
Yes. Well, I miss her too. so very much.
I was always introduced as Otto's stepdaughter, or Anne's stepsister. I was never Eva Schloss. I was always that. But I told myself, you have a life, a husband, 3 children. Anne has nothing. I figured that I couldn't be jealous in any way, and I learned not to be.
Aren't you cold?
If I could go out, I wouldn't mind how cold it is.
Your lips are blue.
Feel my hands. Whenever I have my period, which has been 3 times now, I have this idea that in spite of the pain and the horrible feeling, I am carrying a sweet secret inside of me.
Right, that was it for today. Okay, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
My yearning to talk to somebody became so intense that I got it into my head to choose Peter for that very purpose. So she didn't have any kittens.
When I played with him the other day, I saw he's a Tom. Look. Here are the male genitals. This is just a bit of hair. And this is his backside.
Male and female genitals have different names.
I know.
Do you know what my mother once said? Here's some advice. Don't ever talk about it with the boys, and if they start on about it, don't answer. You couldn't stand me to begin with.
You were very brisk.
You mean annoying.
Yes.
What kind of work do you want to do?
I'm gonna be a criminal or a speculator. No. No, I want to work on a plantation in India.
Why don't you want to stay here? The war will be over soon.
I wish I were a Christian, or could simply become one after the war.
Really? Would you let yourself be baptized?
I don't think I could ever feel like a Christian. But after the war, nobody would know whether I was a Christian or a Jew.
Why aren't the English bombing?
Because the weather's too bad.
The weather was fine yesterday and they didn't fly either.
Let's change the subject.
Why? We can all have an opinion.
No.
Why not?
Please, be quiet.
Mr. Frank always answers his wife.
Calm down, please.
The invasion will never come.
Never.
What do we know?
The English are getting nowhere.
Will you shut up? Look, Anne. Hold the knife like this and peel downwards. No, not like that, like this.
But I prefer it my way.
But this is the best way, believe me.
The potatoes have strange spots on them.
Meep says that vegetables are in short supply.
Everything is in short supply. He has no more vegetables.
I don't miss spinach.
Don't talk like that.
If you don't help peel potatoes in the morning, you have to do so in the evening.
This isn't boys' work. Sit
Dad,
down. I don't see why the men have to help.
But I do. The kids certainly don't do enough. But don't forget, if Margot doesn't do it, then Anne does.
Yes, so what?
Peter doesn't help either. You don't think that he has to help? I don't think the girls have to.
They want a man someday, don't they?
Peeling potatoes won't get them one.
Finally, a sensible remark.
And you finally said something.
The kids should help more, instead of hiding in their books. Girls shouldn't learn so much.
How modern.
Why don't the girls carry the potatoes upstairs? Why don't they fetch the water? They're not that weak.
You're insane.
In addition to her office work, Margot also washes up twice a day.
Come on, that's not work.
Mr. Van Pels, why don't you take over the washing up then?
What do you think I am?
Do you know what? If we all pick our own beans only, we can live off our own money too.
I know I have nothing left. My wife won't sell her fur coat.
Herman.
Peter's bike simply isn't selling. We have nothing at all. Yes, I know.
If Father wasn't so good to such people, then it would be best to seriously rub their nose in the fact that we and the others have literally saved them from their deaths. In a labor camp, one would have to do very different work. From peeling potatoes. Very different work even from picking fleas from the cat.
Anne sometimes accused me of being too weak to fight with the others. But in our predicament, you simply had to hold your tongue.
As if I don't hear psst, psst enough during the day, my roommate has come up with the idea of telling me to psst at night, too. I don't intend to obey. And I will next time psst straight back at him. Psst.
Here is the proof.
Proof of what?
Either people are breaking in, or someone is hiding here.
You have a wild imagination.
And things go missing, too. Spices, pectin.
You've told me that before. Now get back to your work. And make sure that none of your people are stealing.
This is outrageous. You haven't heard the last of this.
Dr. Pfeffer? Would it be okay if I used your table twice a week from 4 until 5:30 in the afternoon?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Why not?
I'm going to need it in order to work on my Spanish course.
Yes, but it's also my table in my room.
Your work isn't serious work. Mythology, what kind of work is that?
Dr. Pfeffer, my work is very serious indeed. The kitchen is too busy in the afternoons. I can't work there. Father likes to work at his desk in the afternoons, too. I kindly ask you to reconsider.
The table will remain mine alone. All you can do is argue with people. If Margot had asked me, then I wouldn't turn her down. But you? With your knitting and your silly mythology, talking to you is absolutely impossible. You're far too selfish.
At that moment, I thought, I'm gonna smack him in the face so that he gets knocked against the wall, lies and all. But the next moment, I said to myself, stay calm. The guy isn't worth it.
After the armistice with the Allies, the Italian government today declared war on Germany. And with that, Italy has now joined the Allied fighting forces. The transportation of people from France and the Netherlands to the east continues incessantly. The suffering of Jews in occupied countries goes on. The number of victims is as yet unknown.
Switch off the radio. Switch off the radio.
Hide the radio. If they find us, they'll find the... Shh.
My diary. Burn it.
Yes, good idea.
They won't get my diary from me. There was a break-in. The police came to the house and got to the swinging cupboard, but no further. It appears that the burglars were disturbed. They got away through the storeroom and the garden. I'm so hot.
Are you in love?
Why should I be in love?
Why not? Smile for me.
Why?
Because your smile is pretty. You get little lines in your cheeks.
There's one in my chin, too. It's my only pretty feature.
That's not true. I think you're pretty. And if I say so, then you can believe it.
I think you're handsome, too. Last night we kissed, too. But Peter's cheeks were very disappointing. They weren't as soft as they look, but more like Father's cheeks, those of a man who already shaves.
It's time. Will you switch off the light?
Yes.
Shall I sing for you like I used to?
No, Daddy.
The moon has risen.
Don't sing.
What's the matter? Hmm?
I don't know where to start. Peter and I, when we're in the attic, we We sit very close together. Do you think that's bad?
I thought you were just friends. Is Peter in love with you?
No. It's not love.
Is it proper for gentlemen to have young lady visitors after dark?
Yes. It's Anne's second home.
Anne, can I trust the two of you up there?
You're insulting me, Mrs. Van Pels.
If the war takes another 5 years, there'll be a wedding.
But first the fathers will have to be consulted.
I'm going to write Father a letter, asking him to leave us alone. Just imagine they knew that we talk about such intimate things. When I was 11 or 12, I didn't know that in addition to the outer labia, you also had inner ones. and funniest of all, I thought urine came out of the clitoris.
It's all a bit more complicated than with us.
When I once asked Mother what the bulge meant, she said that she didn't know. They always pretend to be so stupid.
Anne was curious and keen to talk about all these things. She was interested in everything, sexuality in particular. But she knew hardly anything about it. Her sister told her nothing, and at home she was the little girl. But she wanted to be an adult.
And now we will hear the Minister for Education, Art, and Science.
Fellow countrymen, I have news of a decision by the Dutch government. The decision concerns the collection, editing, and publication.
Yesterday, Minister Bolkenstein spoke on Radio Orange and said that after the war, a collection of diaries and letters from the current times should be published. Of course, everyone will rush to read my diary. Imagine how interesting it would be if I were to publish a novel about the secret annex.
Had she survived, she was going to do something with her diary. She didn't want to publish it, but she planned to write a novel based on it.
Is what we're doing right?
What could be wrong about it?
That I always give in so quickly. Father isn't happy with me. He doesn't want the petting.
You make me happy.
And suddenly the normal Anne slipped away. In her place came the second Anne, who isn't cocky and funny, but just wants to love and be soft. In the morning, we're normal, and quite normal in the afternoon. But in the evening, the day's yearning overwhelms us, the happiness and joy of all the other times, and we think only of one another.
Can't you talk to her, woman to woman?
Whatever I say, she'll do the opposite. Nobody's more upset about that than I am. I'll leave you two alone.
Well, Anne, I've received many letters in my life, but this one is the ugliest by far.
Are you serious? No, I only wrote that I feel I should be accountable to myself.
You say that you don't feel accountable towards us.
No. No, I only wrote that I'm an independent person and that I can decide for myself whether or not I go to see Peter. I wanted to explain what happened to me. Why I was always so loud. Why all your cautions make no difference. It's because I was so sad.
You have received so much love from us. We're always there for you. We have always defended you.
No. You never noticed when I felt sad.
And please. You write that you no longer need a mother. That you no longer need anybody.
What I write about Mother is true.
No. Anne, we don't deserve such reproach. Either we prohibit everything, or we trust you through thick and thin. Well, just leave me alone then.
I thought that you expected an explanation. Because of Peter.
As far as Peter is concerned, I had expected more restraint. Yes.
You can't simply keep treating me like a 14-year-old, Daddy. This whole situation has changed me. I see the 8 of us here as if we were a piece of blue sky, surrounded by black rain clouds. We're all looking down at the people fighting each other. We look up to where it is calm and beautiful, and we're cut off. All I can do is call out, plead. Oh, ring, expand and open yourself for us.
I can't stand being minded like a small child. At first I become flippant, then sad, and in the end I turn my heart. Turn the bad outwards, and the good inwards. And the whole time I look for a way to become what I very much want to be. And what I could be. If only... there were no other people in the world. Your Anne M. Frank.
We're interrupting this program for a special announcement. Thousands of Allied troops today landed on the beaches of Normandy. It is the start of a huge offensive against the Germans. Thousands of paratroopers have landed behind enemy lines. Heavy bombardment.
What? The invasion has started.
Allied forces are engaged in fighting with German soldiers. The army and the people are one will and one hope. This is D-Day. This is D-Day.
Peter!
Will this year, 1944, bring us victory?
Today, just as in these scenes, the armies of the United Nations have made their first landings on the soil of Western Europe. This is the day for which free people long have waited. This is D-Day.
What will you all do when we get out of here?
More than anything, I want a hot bath.
I'll join you. It's what I want most too.
I think I'd rather bathe alone, if you don't mind.
Sure, but fill to the brim and stay in it for half an hour.
I just want to eat cake. Real eggs, lots of butter, cream, raspberries, and chocolate.
A cup of coffee.
This won't surprise you. I just want to go and see my love, Charlotte.
I want to go back to our house and move around freely. And I'm so looking forward to school.
What a swat.
Yeah. My little girl. The special little Lady Anne.
Daddy.
You and 8 SS men drove to the Prinsengracht in a police van.
Yes. It was a sunny day in August. I was about to have something to eat when I received a call telling me that there were Jews hidden in a house. We rang the bell, and when the door opened, we were greeted by that typical smell of spices, which permeates the old warehouses for colonial products. I watched as one of my men spoke to one of the workers in Dutch. Yeah, he just pointed upwards with his thumb, as if to say, "They're upstairs. Hello. Good afternoon. Have a nice day."
Did you know that Otto Frank fought for Germany in the First World War?
Yes, he told me when I arrested him. Hello. Hello. Quietly now. Don't make a sound. Had they responded to the call up, nothing would have happened. They'd have been marched to Theresienstadt, not Auschwitz. One just has to talk.
How long were they in there? Did you ask?
I wanted to know that too.
We've been here for 25 months.
Do you think I believe that?
Come here. Look. Here.
There were lines on the wall with names next to them, so that you could clearly see how they had grown. I could in fact see how she was far taller than the highest line. I said to Frank, "What a beautiful daughter you have."
after the Franks and the other peoples were away, I come here in and found the diary scattered on the floor. Pep and me, we took all the things, but I was afraid that I had not all the paper of the diary. I knew that, but I was so in hurry because I was afraid that this Autrichian man came again.
Days later, when we arrived at Camp Westerbork, we were still fine. The arguing between Anne and her mother seemed to have stopped. Anne was happy all of a sudden. For a short while, the world outside the secret annex did her good. We were still fed there, too.
I can't imagine living like Mother, Mrs. Van Pels, and all the other women. They do their work and are later forgotten. Besides a husband and children, I want something I can apply myself to. I want to live on, even after my death.
A few weeks later, I tried everything to escape the train to Auschwitz. In vain. Two days in darkness. Very little bread. We were separated upon arrival. That was the last time I saw her.
I've often been dejected, but never in despair. In my diary, I describe each hardship as if it's entertainment. I decided that I'd live a different life from other girls. And later, a different life from normal housewives. And for that reason only, I have to laugh at the funny side of even the most dreadful situation.
Margot and Anne were taken to Bergen-Belsen because the Germans were afraid of the Russians. It was October, November. Winter was setting in.
In February 1945, not long before the end, somebody told me that my friend, Anne Frank, was among a group of women close by. That evening, I went as close to the bars as I could and carefully called out. Mrs. Van Pels heard me and answered, saying that she'd bring Anne. So I waited in the cold, rainy night, and after a few minutes, a frail voice called to me. It was Anne.
What did they look like? What did Margot and Anne look like?
They were skeletons. They were completely...
Thin?
No, not thin. I, for instance, had no flesh left here. We were completely... We were There was nothing left. And she was cold. She was shivering from the cold. She was wrapped in a
blanket?
In a blanket.
In Bergen-Belsen, she told you that she had kept a diary?
Yes. And she wanted to base a novel on it after the war. But we were dreaming. We didn't know that Miep Gies had saved the manuscript and would later give it to Otto. We didn't know that. We were dreaming. Like, yes, sure, after the war, she'd write a novel. It was madness.
Will I ever be able to write something big? Will I ever become a journalist and novelist?